Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. Today I have the lovely Carly Sterling on the podcast with me today. So Carly is a social media content creator and she works primarily with the Grassroots Gazette and also Equitas. So she makes some fantastic content. But she didn't always intend to go down this role, and it was something, not that she fell into, but something she maybe not expected seeing herself going in. And it's really interesting, one, to hear the backstory of everything. So seeing what's going on behind the scenes in a big media brand, just stuff that we don't see. And also just like great to show that you don't have to necessarily have done a degree or specialised in media to be able to make a career out of it. So I hope you enjoy this, guys. Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So today I have another guest for you. I have content creator extraordinaire Carly Sterling. So if you follow the Grassroots Gazette or Equitas, you may have seen some of the amazing videos she puts together. But with that, I just want to say welcome to the podcast, Carly. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very good, thank you.
So tell me what you do, who you are and what you do, Carly.
So I make content for social media for the Grassroots Gazette and a bit for Equitas as well. So that really just kind of entails I make videos, take photos. I make the pages look pretty and stuff. And a lot of it is down to telling a story through my work. So like, for example, with the Grassroots Gazette, it's all about the community and the team, etc., behind building this community. So I am behind the scenes with my little camera to capture all of that and tell a story across the social media.
Yeah, I love that, say, telling the story. So the thing, I suppose, we always see the finished project, and this is the reason I want to talk to you, because you are kind of behind it, creating everything. What is what is the process for creating these kind of things? Do you start with an idea in mind, or do you just kind of see what happens?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say it kind of varies. Like it depends, like what kind of place I'm going to. Like I always go to an event or something with like an idea in mind of what I want to capture, what I need to get, just to obviously make sure that I'm filmed enough to make content from. So that's always in the back of my mind. Like, so I usually do up like a little shot list of everything that I need to film. Like if there's important people there that I need to make sure they have interviews, etc. Just bits and bobs like that. But like obviously then you've obviously got like the stuff that happens on the go, like the real like the camaraderie of the place, or like just little snippets of people chatting away, like that you can't predict, so like there's always bits that go in, and I always find that it kind of just adds to the emotion to the story I'm telling. So I have my baseline of the story I want to tell, so I've kind of got my beginning, my middle, and my end, and then all the bits in between just kind of fluff it up a bit and just make it look pretty, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's kind of like the rundown of it and like my thought process behind making all the content.
Yeah, I love that. And I love to see that there is kind of a structure to it, not to say that there wouldn't be, but I suppose kind of let's take it back a little bit first. Is this something you always wanted to do?
Funny enough, actually, no. So my whole life, I've always wanted to work with horses. Like I've been horse mad my entire life since I was 8 years old. First got on a horse, I was like, yeah, this is me. I'm solid for life. So yeah, I went to equine college and everything. I studied equine science, and I was convinced like this is my dreams, my passion. I've always wanted to do something. What I wanted to do with horses now was kind of like open to just trying things and see what I liked, because I didn't really know. I wanted to kind of produce horses at first, but then I was like, the facilities I have, it would be quite difficult to actually make a living from that. And then I was like, well, I could always go into maybe physiotherapy, kind of that route or something. Kind of tried a bit of everything, and I started out working as a stable hand, and I was kind of helping kids with lessons and all that and stuff. And I was planning on doing my BHS stages, and I was working for about a year, and it kind of just got to the point where I was just like, it's kind of taken the love of the hobby for me. Like everyone always says, don't turn your hobby into your job. Like, and I was like, it's horses. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm always gonna love it. Like, but do you know what? It's actually true. Like, it actually really kind of sucked the passion out of riding. Like, whenever I got on Nova, then my horse, she just felt like an extra extension of my job. like it didn't feel like there was no separation of job and relaxation and my hobby. So I was kind of like, maybe this isn't the way to do it. Like if I'm gonna like, I'm getting by, but it's not something like I'm losing passion for it, and I didn't like that. So I was like, I'll take a step back and I'll just kind of I started working in sales. I was trying a bit of everything. I was kind of in that awkward phase in my 20s where I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but sure, look, I'll just try things and find out. Like,
The best
so
time to do
yeah,
it.
honest to God, like honest to God. So then yeah, I kind of worked in sales for a bit, and I was like not really into this either. It was fun and all, but it doesn't really suit me. And I was like, after that, I've kind of like, I've always wanted to work for myself. I've always been like, I've always wanted to eventually work for myself or do something that's like creative. I've always been a very creative person. I've always loved taking photos, or I've loved drawing, always been creative. Um, and then I went to the Irish Pony Show, the spring show last year. That was my first ever event going with Grassroots Cadet. And I took some photos and videos for them. And I absolutely loved it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, where has this been? I was like, I think I found it. This is my calling. Like, I was just absolutely love taking all the videos and being able to see everyone like and capture those special memories. Just really kind of like, it really warms the heart, like, you know, especially when it's all the kids in that phone show and some of them are going to the first ever show. I was like, I'm able to capture all this and like make a memory for someone. Like it's just beautiful. So yeah, and then it kind of went from there, and then started working with the Grassroots Gazette then from that, and doing the social media stuff from there. And obviously the Rider Academy came along, and that was again an even more of a boost of how great I was just having so much fun. I just love that I can have fun with it. And I think that was kind of what sold me on being then the social media content creator.
Yeah. It's interesting you're saying about like capturing the moment, and it really is a talent to be able to catch those things. Like you have to have an eye for it. Like you can do all the learning, but is there anything when you're out there that you're like, this is something I have to capture right now?
Oh, sometimes there is, you know, especially like at horse shows and that, like you might just see like a real heartwarming conversation between like, let's say like teen show jumping or something, and you usually get the parents that come with them and help them like obviously groom and that for the horses. And you might see them just run around, and there's like you kind of, some people don't see when you go back to then the trailer, and there's a young girl or a young lad that's just absolutely over the moon with winning, and they're like giving the pony all the hugs and the pats, and they're all giving the pony treats and all. Like I think that's what it's just like. I love capturing those moments that people can't see in the ring. I love the stuff that happens outside of the ring.
Yeah, because like the ring, I suppose, is the culmination of all that hard work. And I think as well as you're that person in behind the scenes, you know the amount of work
Mm-hmm.
it gets there. So sometimes it's just really nice. And I know you're saying about girls and boys, but like you see it at all levels, don't you? Like there's
All
like,
levels, absolutely all levels. Like sure, you can even see it on like, you know, when you go watch let's say like the FBI page, I know sometimes they post stuff like, you know, behind the scenes of like what was his name, um was it Austin, was it the one at the Maryland, and
oh, Austin O'Connor.
yeah, yeah, and he was just absolutely over the moon, and someone captured like a really heartwarming scene. He was just like hugging the horse to death, and I was like, that is just, it just makes you realize that especially at any level you're at, the love for the horse is always there, no matter what level.
Yeah, no, it is. And they are like truly just, they're not just, I suppose, a piece of equipment, are they?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Like, you know, they're not just a machine, and like everyone's always got a passion somewhere, you know, whether that's shown or not. Like, it's nice being able to have the camera to capture those moments, because especially when you see all the big riders as well, like on TV and that, like you only get to see the rounds. You don't really get to know them as a person as such. You get to see them as a rider, not as a person. So being that person, like with a little camera behind the scenes, capturing like, you know, like you get to see little snippets of like how the relationship is with their horse, etc., and the team, all the stuff like that. Like you even see the likes of Laura Collett with her groom, like the bond that those two share is just absolutely phenomenal. Like they are literally like best friends, and it's so nice to see.
Do you think social media has kind of helped that be shown a bit more?
I think so. I think over the years it's changed. Like I think it went from a big like kind of advertising kind of setup with a lot of like businesses and stuff with like set on advertising. Then I've noticed people now, like the way the marketing's changed, it's gone towards more like your business can, like to advertise your business, you want to advertise what is it, like who is it that you are as a company, and the people behind the company, more so than the products that you're selling or whatever the service that you're giving. Do you know, like I've noticed that a lot over the years, that more people are interested in the story you have to tell than what you have to tell.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
You know, I in my mind, I think it could be to do with like as well with the obviously the time gone on with Netflix and all, and like people love watching like mini series and stuff, and you know, people by nature are nosy. That's just about like people by nature are nosy. They love knowing what's going on and the behind the scenes and stuff. Like as much as they love to see the big stuff, like the actual event itself, but like I think it's that little bit of extra knowledge and nosiness, like, oh, what's happening behind the scenes. Like it's like I think that's just what has changed over the years, and like that, as I said, with Netflix and all, watching series and watching stories all the time, like because you know back in the day you used to, you know, like go to the cinema or you know buy a CD, like, but now it's just so readily available, you can watch an entire series on your phone, like.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably as well that has something to do with it.
Yeah, that's true. You make a really good point there. And when you started doing work with the grassroots, how did that come about?
I think it kind of really, to be fair, it's actually funny. So I was like, I didn't mind going to the odd show. Like I said, I went to the Irish Pony show there last year in spring, and I was kind of like just doing bits and bobs here and there. Like when I had the time, I was like, oh, I can do a quick video if you want. Like, and Shane just was like, you know, these are great videos, and that like he was like, you should probably look into doing something like if you want to like take this further, etc. And actually, at that point, I was unemployed. I was struggling to find a job. I live in Leitrim. Like it's just, like the amount of jobs here is zero to none. Like it's I live in the sticks, so that's another thing that makes it quite difficult to get a job. And I also hadn't passed my driving test yet, so traveling to get a job was also another struggle. So I was like, I'm gonna try and either. I was thinking about setting up my own business, like then and now. I was thinking about doing the social media just off the bat, setting up as freelance. But then I was like, but like how do I build the clients and stuff? I wasn't quite ready for that stage yet. You know, like I was very too fresh into it. So I chatted to Shane and was like, um, you know, like I'm looking for a job, like is even if it's part time, I would really, really love to work for the Grassroots Gazette. And Shane was like, leave it with me, I'll have a think about it, we'll have a look at it. And yeah, and ended up doing an interview with them, etc. And he was like, yeah, we'll take you on board. It was great, absolutely loved it. And I just love how well me and Shane got on as well. Like it's nice to be able to work for someone that you get on with, you know, like, and it just adds that like extra touch to a job, you know, like, you know, money can be great and all, but if you don't get on with your boss, like, then is it worth it? Like,
Yeah, no, it is. It makes a huge difference.
it was a huge, huge difference.
I've worked in loads of different places, and the difference between being with someone who is supportive and like there's no problem with them, you know, calling you out when you do something wrong and stuff like that. But when you know
Yeah.
they have your back, it makes a huge difference compared to someone who is not like that. And
Oh, 100%, like 100%. It just makes you kind of, it builds that work ethic a bit, because I think as well, when you work with someone that's kind of always negative, you know, like it's kind of like then like it makes you negative. Like you want to be able to lift. Like to me, an employer and should be a leader, and a leader should be someone that inspires you to do better. If that person is not inspiring you to do better, then what are you working for then? Like, you know, I've worked in a lot of places where like there's not much pathway to go up the ladder, or like, you know, they're kind of stuck at the bottom and they don't want you to move up from the bottom. And you know, it's like, well, kind of for business perspective, like you should kind of cherish those people at the bottom to lift them up, because then they're going to be eventually the people that are at the top aren't always going to be there, you know. So like I think it is like this business structure and all that. Like I'm not getting into too much detail because I don't even know the depths of it. I only know the baseline of it. Like I don't own a business, so but that's just talking from what I've seen from working in so many different places. And my parents are business people as well, so like, you know, I've had a lot of exposure to businesses.
I suppose what you're saying there as well, like, you know, if you have no like chance of progression, why would you put your whole effort into it? Like,
Exactly, like it makes you like, so what's the point? Like, you know, like if you and you know, like it just gives you that drive. Like if you have no drive to go somewhere, like what, like you're just gonna be stuck in Stockport, aren't you? Like you're not gonna you're not gonna want to do anything. Like why go the extra mile when there's nothing coming out of it?
yeah. And I suppose you're like the way you're talking about, like, you know, doing that first show and everything and your progression to where you are now, like that's all happened in less than a year. So what has that been like?
You know what? It's actually been like, I think sometimes I don't realize it until I look back. Like just actually the day I've been recently putting up throwbacks for the pony show last year, and I was like looking at the stuff I filmed then and the content I made back then, and I was like, that's actually so different. Like I was like Sometimes you don't realize it until you take a minute and take a step back and have a look at the broader picture. Because like I always look at like something I've made last week or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a little bit better, I suppose. Like when you actually look at me a year ago, the difference is uncanny. Like it's unbelievable. And to be fair, I do like, I'm quite proud of myself. Like I've never done a college course in this. I've never took a college course in design or nothing. I've just learned everything from Google and trial and error. Like just watching YouTube videos. Like same with my camera. I just learn as much as I can from my dad, and he learns as well from YouTube, etc. So like the good internet's a beautiful place. Like you can learn like beyond things on the internet, and it's great. Like it's absolutely great.
Yeah, no, it is. There's so much out there. And as someone who, no, I don't know, I did it 10 years ago, right? I did a media degree, and half the stuff that I learned, I probably could have learned on the internet now. Like, there was more.
Yeah, that can happen. Like, like especially with the likes of like techie kind of colleges and stuff. If you're doing something in tech, like the majority of it you could learn on that. Like, but I suppose as well, what I find, like even when I went to equine college, like a lot of it I already knew just from watching TV shows or something, or watching YouTube and stuff. But I think it just added that extra little bit of knowledge to know what to search for. Because sometimes I find if you're trying to learn online, you get stuck in this rut of like I know what I need to know, but I don't know how to search what I need to know.
Yeah.
Like you don't know the words to put into Google to give you the answer. Like, do you know what I mean? And I do find college is good for that. Like, it just kind of say they got the curriculum and all, but like to the best part of it now, like you have the likes of Udemy and stuff, like you have online courses, and that like there's a world of knowledge out there for like, and it's not that expensive either. Like, a lot of them. If you're not looking for a piece of paper to tell you I've done this, it's cheap.
Yeah, I've paid like $3,000 a year to be able to tell you at the end of it what the definition of culture is.
Yeah, it's mad, like.
Yeah, no, it's unreal. And the Rider Academy, that was like a massive project.
Oh, huge.
What was it like being a part of that?
Oh Jesus Christ! Like that was. If I think about it every day. It was a phenomenal experience. Like to be able to pull off a project of that scale, and we had every single person in the room had only done this for the first time. And the fact that we pulled it off, we got over 2.5 million views. It was absolutely incredible. Like especially even myself, I just arrived up and I was expecting to do social media and stuff behind the scenes. But then James ended up coming out with this big, proper, fancy looking, expensive camera. It's like, hey, you can record. I was like, what? It's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, sure. Like, I've seen you with the camera, the basics. You can hit record, you can zoom in and out, and you light, and go ahead. I was like, great. Off I went with one of those proper like fancy cameras, and I was away. And James was absolutely incredible as well for taking time out where he could to teach me stuff as well. Like, I think not only was it such a memorable experience, just one, watching the riders, being a part of the whole team, the community, everything, the whole project, and obviously meeting Lucinda Fredericks, like, come on, like,
absolute legend,
my absolute idol, like, and Hiker as well, and Dane and Jeff Billington, like it was, and Joseph Murphy, like that was even just a shock, like, but just being able to as well have learned so much in just a few days was absolutely incredible. Like I will always cherish that in my heart. Like not only was it just, as I said, like a memorable experience, I learned so much, and just the fact that like the whole team was together, like bouncing ideas off each other, helping each other, and I think it was just a real eye-opener, like what the grassroots can do and what the community and the team are capable of, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible.
What would you say was your biggest learning from that?
Well, my biggest learning I would definitely say is being more confident in myself. Like I kind of went in with like just like, I take a few videos on my phone, maybe pop out the camera here and there. And then James obviously handed me the big camera, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing with this level yet, but sure, I give it a go. Like I think that's what really inspired me as well. And I learned so much just watching the riders. Just give it a go. Like just what's the worst that can happen? It goes wrong, but sure, look, you tried. Do you know? Like you tried. So I think it was one of the biggest learning things I took from the Rider Academy, watching the riders just give it a go on the cross country course, giving it a go with everything. you know, James coming up with like a shot he has in mind with the cameras, right? Let's give this a go. The interviews, let's give this a go, and we all just did it, and it worked. It worked. Like, do you know? So just I think that was the biggest learning thing. Just be more confident in yourself and just give it a go.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so you basically you are the first, say, official member of staff in the Grassroots, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
What did it feel like to get that call and be like, you're in?
Oh, I tell you, it was so hard to keep my composure. I remember Shane rang me and I was like, hello. And he's like, I have some news for you. And I was like, okay, what kind of news? Because I was like, this could be either there's a terrible news or the good news. Like,
You know, by his tone of voice.
Yeah. I was kind of like, it's definitely good news, but I don't know. Shane's a bit like sneaky here and there. Like, it's like
he loves to build the suspense.
I love the suspense. Like, and then he was like, yeah, we'd love to take you on. And I was just, I was like behind the phone, like, yes. But it's like, oh, thank you very much, Shane. I really appreciate the opportunity. Like, really. It's like being like the 23-year-old me, absolutely psyched and screaming behind the phone, and then it's like professional. Yes, thank you. I had to put the phone voice on. Oh, but yeah, no, it's just such a privilege as well to be the first hired, you know, like not only getting the job, but like the fact that Shane saw something in me that I deserved this position was incredible. Like, I think that was also a big boost in my confidence as well, because I was kind of like, oh, but like other people can do it better. Like, you could probably get like, you know, a professional in or something, like someone that's been to college, got a degree, got the experience, has a business and stuff. But I think that was like a big eye opener. Like, there's a case, like, yeah, no, I'm not a professional yet. I'm nowhere near it, but I have the potential to be. And I think that's what, you know, is an eye opener as well. Like, you don't have to be there yet. Like, you don't you don't have to have it all on the table right this minute. You know, like, as long as you have the work ethic and the plan ahead, you can make it there.
Yeah, but technically, Nick, I know you say you're not a professional yet, but you are a professional now.
I mean, see, I think that's just me again. Like, I always like to downplay myself. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay in it. Like, you know, but yeah, no, like, I think it's one of them as well. It's because social media is always changing. There's always something new. It's the internet. Like, you're always going to be learning. Oh, and I think that's why I love it so much as well. I'm such a person that loves to learn. Like, I'm always wanting to, I'm always Googling something. I'm always looking for answers. I've always been like that since I was a kid. Like, and I think that's why I love social media so much, because it's forever changing. Media news forever changes. There's always something new to try. There's new tech, there's new AI. You know, it's great. Like, but yeah. I mean, I suppose, like, I would say, I mean, professional, nearly there, maybe.
Well, like, it's your job, so that makes you a professional.
I'd call it mid-level. Because I think I just compare myself as well to other people a lot as well. I think that's one of my flaws. I compare myself, and I see, like, obviously big companies that have been doing it for years on end, and like, I'm like, can I create that? Probably not. I can make something that looks close, but it won't look the same. It'll be close. Like,
yeah. But then, like, do they have extra tech and everything like that as well?
That's true. That is true. Like, I think, yeah, I do tend to compare myself a lot, and I think that's just one of my little flaws that I need to work on.
That's all right. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Just remember you are a professional.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind, Chrissy. I'll put that. Chrissy said I'm a professional.
Yes, Chrissy, yes.
Yeah. Keep it in mind.
I love what you say about the media and social media constantly changing, because that's one thing as well I love about the media, because there's always something new happening, there's always something changing, and on top of that, like, you know, you still get to work with ponies all the time.
That is honestly, as well, when I was at the pony show and I had a camera in my hand, I was like, I am around, like, as I said, I wanted to work with horses my whole life, and I love being behind the camera. I was like, this is combined in the two. I was like, why didn't I think of it sooner? I was like, I'm taking pictures of pretty ponies. I'm like, this is brilliant. Like, so it's actually really nice to, like, combine the two passions. And as I said, like, it doesn't take the love out of the riding for me. Like, I still have enough energy and I still have enough time to be able to enjoy my horses and go ride and, like, have a goal to, like, maybe go compete and stuff. Like, at the minute I'm doing an at-home dressage league, which is brilliant because, like, I don't have a trailer at the minute, but it's still like competing. But
Yeah.
just from my arena, I take a video and I'm still in a league and I'm still competing against people, which is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love it. So it's just giving me that bit of it's a great confidence boost as well, because like I've always been a bit of a going competing. I'm always that one person that like gets to the ring and I'm like, I've forgotten everything.
Yep.
And I've never really competed much growing up. Like I've only ever been to like local shows and doing a couple play rounds. Like I've never ever stepped foot in like a big arena, nothing like that. Never been to Cavan, nothing like that. So yeah, I think this year now might change that. We're getting there. And I think as well, owning a thoroughbred also puts like you need to be extra cautious. You have to put a couple of extra steps in there just in case I like, just to be sure. Like I was saying to Shane, like I'd love to see more hunter trials. Do you know the way you can go just do a cross country and there's no shoulder up and there's no dressage? I was like, yeah, because I need to test out each discipline and make sure I can do all three in one day without dying.
Always ideal.
Just don't throw me in the deep end and do all three in one day, because I don't know how that's gonna end. Like we could dressage could become show jumping, etc. Like we could be jumping the planks, you know. But yeah, that's basically it.
And Nova's a young horse as well, isn't she?
She is quite young. Yeah, she's 7 or 8. I think she's turning 8 this year. She'll be 8 in May. So she's still kind of, but she was very slowly brought on, like with me in college and that, like she was very on and off. So she's kind of like, she's 8, but with the mind of a 6-year-old. Like she's kind of like back there a bit. Like,
what's it like being that person in charge of bringing her on?
No, it's been a journey. It's been a very difficult journey. I can't lie. Like there's been multiple times I think some people as well don't share the brutal honest truth of how the guilt that you feel of wanting to sell a horse that you've brought up from, you know, I had her since she was 6 months old, and I was like, I think she's too much for me. I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep it up. Like she's a lot. Like she went through a phase of rearing and stuff, and I was terrified to get on her, and I was like, I just think she'd be better off as someone that has the confidence. And like the guilt that comes with that, like, is on it. Oh, it felt awful, but I just felt like it was for the best. And every time I put the ad up, I couldn't go through with it. I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't sell it. Like I can't do it. And I take down the ad. And then when I was living in Kildare, I ended up obviously getting the different job in sales, and I wasn't driving, and I ended up moving house, and it was very difficult to go and see it, and I had to come up with an adult decision of, is this viable to, I can't afford it, like, you know. And I was like, I have a choice to either move back home with my parents because I've a yard here at home, or put her on loan. So I had a few people out for try her out on loan, and just like she's a very quirky horse, just to put it that way. And everyone like loved her, but just wasn't quite like, yeah, like she's great, but just not for me. And I was like, yeah, to fair, I don't blame you. Like, I mean, she's a very specific kind of type. she's very unique. But then I was kind of like, didn't end up liking the job anyway. I was like, why am I absolutely just making myself miserable for a job that I don't even see? Like I was literally just keeping it just to keep my independence. I'd moved out from home, so I was like just trying to be an independent adult, but it was very much scraping pennies and struggling, right? Struggling for independence. So I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. So I ended up moving back home with my parents. And I think like that's another thing, being in like your early 20s, mid-20s, it's kind of like, oh god, I'm gonna move back home with my parents. Like, oh, like,
yeah,
like, oh,
been there.
It's such a like, oh, like, is this a bad thing? Like, is that like, it's so embarrassing? I'm moving back home with my parents. Like, it's like after just living away, I just like failed as an adult, and I have to move back home with my parents. But like, but it's not that at all. I think it was just actually taking an adult decision that this isn't financially suitable. This isn't healthy. This is just what's the point? You know, like I can take a step back, move back home for a bit, and do something else and build myself up again. Like I think some people as well, I need to not worry about taking a step back to see the bigger picture. You know, like it's not necessarily a failure. It's not a complete utter crash to the ground. It is literally just being like, whoa, I need to breathe for a minute. Like, yeah. And I think that's what it was. So I moved back home, took over with me, and yeah, we've just kind of been doing training shows and stuff ever since, and trying to get back up there. I think we're on a good streak at the minute. She's not tried to kill me in the last 6 months, so she's
always ideal.
And I think just being a mare as well just adds to it. Like, But yeah, no, she's been doing great. Like, I mean, sure, I've had it since I was 6 months old. I think I've gotten to the point now where I was like, you know what? If you do try and kill me again, I just brood man. Brood man.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll make use of you.
Yeah, make you see it somehow. Like,
What was the turning point, would you say, where you went, no, actually, I can take her on?
I think it was. We had like a little bit of a breakthrough moment. I think it was like we're really struggling for ages. Just she was so spooky, and once she got spooked, that was it. She just wouldn't settle down. Like she would just stay like in this freaked state of mind for ages, and I ended up just taking things real slow with her. I tried a bit of natural horsemanship with her, trying literally everything I could read up on, just to see what would help. But did a bit of natural horsemanship. That did help, to be fair. It helped a lot. Like I was able to walk her around. Like she had really bad separation anxiety from my other mare Pearl. And whenever I'd walk to like halfway down the lane, she'd start freaking out because she's too far away. So the natural horsemanship helped in other aspects, but I found that it wasn't really correlating to the riding aspect. It was helping millions of miles on the ground, but just riding was still up there. And then we ended up moving then to Kildare, and I ended up getting a lot of lessons and stuff from a BHS coach too. I think it's BHSI or something. I something like the top of the top BHS level. I don't know what it's called, but he was very, very accredited BHS coach. And I think the change of scenery, and obviously as well being taken away from home, so she couldn't have the separation anxiety, being put in like a herd environment, because obviously having her since she was 6 months old, and then she moved into my house, which I only had one other horse. It was very easy to just bond her. She didn't get put into a herd dynamic. She went from straight to mom to like nanny. It was like she was just glued to nanny.
Yeah.
And I think she just needed a kind of learn how to be a horse in a herd environment. So I think that really helped her. I think that was her turning point to mature a bit and kind of experience new things. And we went to a couple of clinics and stuff, or a couple of lessons away from the yard and that. And I think it just all those exposures. I think the best thing you can do for a horse as well is to not be afraid to expose them to stuff, no matter the reaction. As long as you're not putting yourself into some crazy dangerous situation. Like I always knew she was going to react, but I just manage it as best as I can. And I think that was just the turning point for her. And then she got calmer and calmer because she'd been exposed to more and more stuff. And she was like, you know what, this is actually, I'm not going to die. I'm okay. Like, and then, that was a real turning point. We started really enjoying ourselves. We were doing lessons every week with the yard, and we were just going great. Like, I didn't even compete for the whole year. It was nice to be able to just enjoy it and have lessons and go jumping. Like, we had real issues jumping as well. Like I think just being a thoroughbred, she's got like 8 legs. She does. I tell you, I swear to God, Chrissy, I will send you a photo of what she used to jump like. She used to try and trot through a crossbow. Like,
yeah, that's good coordination.
8 legs, couldn't jump at all. Like I had to teach her how to jump and lift 2 legs off the floor. And that took a long time as well. But again, great help from the yard I was working at, and just all come with time. And the point, I think, patience is the key as well. Like you'd always see on social media as well. This is why I do have a love-hate relationship with social media. I think that's just from the type of person I am, and again comparing myself. I'd always see people with other young horses that like her age going to age classes and stuff, jumping 120 or something, and I'm like, oh well. And like I've watched that horse's journey from like being broken up to the age classes. I'm like, how did they do that so easy? And like, is there something I'm doing wrong? And then I start dating myself, like, oh Jesus, like I've completely messed her up, like. But then like every horse is their own. They all have their own personality. They all just take their own time. And I think she was one of those that just needed her own time to come into her own skin.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it is completely different, and it's very easy. You don't like, you might see those horses in the age class, but I'm sure they haven't shown you this 10 times the horse dumped them in one day.
Yeah. That is true. That's very true. Yeah, they don't show you as much the real bad days. Like they'll show you the bad off days, but not the like really bad days where you just like. There's been even still now, like there's still days where I've done practice a dressage test, and I'm like, that just went horribly. Like she's just not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. We both just flopped. Like, and I think now I'm taking as it's a bad day, not a bad forever. Like it's just a bad day. We'll try again another day, and don't. I used to kind of real hang on and weigh on the bad days. Like, that's it. No, we're terrible. We're quitting the class. That's it. We're done. Never do dressage again. I'm hacking from now on. Like,
yeah.
But no, it's just a bad day. You just have to keep going. And like, I have to remind myself as well to take the little wins. Like even still now, like I still do an intro classes. I've been riding since I was 8, but we tried a prelim league and we were kind of like getting average scores. Like we're just quite like the schooling level just wasn't quite there yet. Like it was a little bit messy here and there. And sure, it's my first ever time doing dressage. Like
Yeah.
So I was like, Joe, what? We'll step into the intro class. Like, so what? We're not like it's intro. That's what it's for. It's level you up. And that's why I do a little bit of dressage, is being able to like go through levels and get the judges' feedback and stuff, and you can see by your scores when you're ready to move up. So we're back into intro that we'll focus on the walk and trot because we kind of still have issues with like working in a consistent frame. She's just one of them horses. I think that's just a thought. I think she's just like, what's that over there? And, like just lift the head up. She's just so distracted. Like it just
ADHD pony.
Yeah, literally, she is so distracted. But we've been really working on it, and our scores have been slightly increasing every week. And like, I think the first time I was kind of like, yeah, I'll definitely get first place next week. I was like, but they set in my scores too high. They set in my standards a bit too high, and looking at the time frame and actually how much effort and time and training I was putting in to get those results. I was like, so I probably should be training more and probably get an instructor to be able to get the kind of skills I'm looking for. I'm being too hard on myself. But I should be taking the fact that I don't have a trainer. I don't have lessons. And like I live in Leitrim, there's very minimal coaches here. I probably have to travel one from the bottom of the country up here like to get one. But like we've done that ourselves. Like I have bought so many books on dressage just to like read up on and learn and how to incorporate it into my riding and stuff. So it's like I have to, give myself a pat on the back for that. Like we've improved our scores without any training, and we're getting somewhere. Just because it's not going 100-mile-an-hour trajectory doesn't mean we're not improving. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But as well, like it shows progression, the fact that you were able to make that decision to step down to intro, because you're knowing that it's going to be better for both of you in the long run. It's like that thing you were saying about moving back. You're stepping back to step forward.
yeah,
As opposed to it's not a failure. It's not, and that takes a really, really strong like mindset to do.
Yeah, because a lot of people be like, oh, I'm not stepping into intro. Like that's like it's the baby class. So beginners, like I've been riding since I was 8. Like it's just I go find the horse. It's not about me. It's about the horse. Like she's not happy. We're not gonna. What's the point in putting ourselves through hardship and torture of trying to do prelim when we're not ready yet? Like like. So I think it is just more so you have to look at it from a bigger point of view and not just the one end goal. Like a lot of times as well, I think when you put yourself into that mindset of always looking at the end goal, you don't look at the steps around and the little off path that it takes to get to that end goal, because it's never a straight road. It's never a straight road. Like you have to look at, okay, what other options can I take to get to my end goal? Like it might not be a left, it might be a right this time. You have to kind of look at it that way.
Yeah, and you made the really good point there as well, saying that like you've been riding since you're 8, but like it's about the horse. Like Nova wasn't even a twinkle in her. You know what I mean? Like they even thought of Nova possibly, like Nova's parents were possibly not even alive when you started riding. So it's not about you, it's about her.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I have an older mare, Pearl. She's well schooled, which just like she's very old. Like when we did prelim, when I was doing prelim on her while I was in intro with Nova.
Yeah.
And that is like we were getting like second place in prelim with Pearl, and it was like getting third place with Nova in intro. It was like she stood by the horse. It was like she's just not quite at that. She's just not quite ready yet, and I'm pushing her too hard. She's one of those you have to be patient with, and she's a gentle little soul. she's a bit like, but she's also very stubborn. She's like trying to push things too fast but too hard. She doesn't quite understand it. She will throw a tantrum. She will literally throw a tantrum. She's like, I don't get it. I'm not moving. I don't understand what you're asking now.
Yeah. Man, leave me alone.
yeah, literally. She's like, no, that's too difficult. So I just have to kind of introduce it slowly. Like, look, you can do it. Like, look, we can do just a nice pretty circle in trot. We're not going to count because as well, she's a thoroughbred. She gets very excited in canter. I actually had one test where she did a huge book going into canter. The judge put very exuberant transition to canter. So yeah, that seems very right.
I love that. That's such a good
yeah, it's such a good description. Like, yeah, very exuberant indeed. She really wanted to show her a true transition to canter. She's like, look, I can use all 4 legs to go into canter.
I love that. Do you think the work with horses has like helped you in your work with the media creation?
I think so. I think it's mainly, especially because as well, like going to video, like horse events and stuff, like I think it's just helped from like a business perspective because obviously being an employee, you kind of see the ins of a bit of business and how it's run and stuff like that. And I think it has helped me a bit with social media and also just contacts as well. I think just like obviously building relationships with people that like that when I went to the Wild Atlanta Dressage Festival, I saw a woman there, Miriam Bunta, who I used to look after her horse at the yard I was working at. And it was nice to be able to make that connection. I got asked her for an interview and stuff, and it was great. Like, it was, you make little links here and there. It was very nice. Like, I think just getting to know people, all that. I think that's how it's helped my social media, and as well, just I've always kind of been like I've never been too shy, but I've always been a little bit like socially anxious, and putting myself into uncomfortable environments where I knew I'd be socially anxious, it helped me overcome it. Like that working in sales, I would have never pictured myself working in sales and having to talk to people for a job, like and answering phone calls and stuff. Like that was my worst nightmare. But I was like, do you know what? Like, you know, I might as well try it. Like, you know, come out of my comfort zone because that's something I'm gonna have to do. No matter what I do, I'm gonna have to learn how to talk to people. So I think that's where it's helped a lot is working in different environments and with social media. I'm comfortable now to go to people, ask for stuff. Do you mind if I take a photo? Do you mind if you get an interview, etc. Or if I do an interview, I'm okay asking questions and stuff. So yeah, I think it's all about. I think it's very much people skills. I think it's helped me with as a whole broad spectrum.
Yeah, and I think as well, like obviously being in horses, you know, it's always easy. You can always default back to ask about the horses.
Yeah. Yeah, you're dead right. You're dead right.
I found that a lot easier with dealing with stuff like that or interviewing people when it comes to that kind of thing, because you can always just be like, so tell me about your pony, and they will tell you. They'll talk to you for 20 minutes about the horse.
Great. It's great. Like I think also the questions I love the way Lauren put it in one of the interviews that she did with Shane. It was like lots of questions will literally talk about horses till we turn blue in the face. I was like, you are dead right. We literally will talk about horses and like until someone said stop, and even at that point, we'll probably still keep going.
Yeah,
it is great being able to combine the two, like as you said, like go on interview people, you know, off the bat it can be like, you know, how to get into horses. It's like it is great to be able to, and also like being a horse person as well, then being able to like it turns into almost like a chit chat, and it doesn't feel as formal. It kind of and it helps the other person relax as well. I think that's why I do find I'm in a bit of an advantage being a horse person and working in social media for a horse company. That when I go to places like this, I kind of and as well like knowing what shots to get for, like I know when the horse is looking nice and stuff, but like I know when to capture those moments, like the way a horse is going, like I know that kind of stuff and all that. So I think that's kind of like it's given me a bit of an advantage of what I do.
yeah, it absolutely does help, because it is so complex having that eye to know what people are looking for.
Yeah.
It
Like
makes
that, even
content
when I
more
upload a
like
photo,
engagement.
like you know, I know that Nova's really bad for sometimes just sticking her tongue out randomly. Like, and it's like just head up in the air. It was like it's a dressage test, and she's here with the head up in the air and like tongue sticking out, just not paying attention. Like, yeah, no, please do not upload that for the love of God. Like, like I think if I saw someone uploaded a photo of me like that with Nova, I'd be like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, but you know
Be
what?
raging.
It won't surprise me, but Jesus Christ.
That is not what I want online.
Yeah, no. At least look pretty, Nova. But yeah, it's one that I like, and you know, it's handy knowing about horses and growing up around horses that you can capture those nice shots. And as well, being a horse person, like you kind of know yourself, like, oh, I'd love a photo of me and my horse like this. You know, you always like think about a nice photo and that, like, and I think it gives that little bit of an edge.
Yeah, no, that's true. And so, what's next for the coming up in this year? Like, what have you got? Have you got good plans or?
Ooh, to be fair, I think I'm just mainly looking forward to season 2 of the Rider Academy. Like I'm just absolutely buzzing for that. But what else? We're going to the pony show, our pony society show again in spring, in April 4th, which I'm really excited about as well. But yeah, I think other than that, it'd just be mainly grassroots events. I don't know much else throughout the year other than those. But I'm excited to see what it brings anyway. I just want to. Well, one thing that I'm very looking forward to, but I'm currently saving for a new camera, so that's my little tech geek side of me. I'm very excited to try out some new stuff and new tech and all. So yeah, it's kind of just take it as it comes and enjoy the year and enjoy my dog and learn as much as I can.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So anyway, I think that is pretty much everything I have to ask you, Carly. However, there is one question I like to ask everybody at the end of the podcast, and that is, what is the best advice that you've ever been given?
Oh, the best advice that I've been given. I would say the best advice I've ever been given is just absolutely be brave and be bold and be relentless. Just don't back away from a challenge. Like, don't be scared. Just do it. As I said, just try it. What's the worst that can happen? Just, if you fail, it's not really a fail. It's you learn from mistakes. So yeah, just go try it.
I love that. There's kind of been a bit of a running theme in that. Like, you might have noticed, but in your answers, there's been a lot of that kind of through it. So it's absolutely perfect way to kind of close out the podcast. But before you go as well, Carly, where can everybody find you if they want to keep up with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at cs_equine_, and that's where I try to post as much as I can, but I think as well, I think that's my flaw as being a social media kind of content creator for other companies. I forget that I also have a social media. I spend so much time posting for other people, I forget to post on my own account. But yeah,
that's so hard to do both.
It's so hard to do both. I know. Like, I constantly forget that I am also an account too. Like, but yeah, no. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, you can either follow the Grassroots Gazette or follow myself at CS Equine.
Yeah. And you'll see some really cool content on both, and also lots of pictures of Nova, who is gorgeous. And as ever, guys, if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok. So on Instagram, it's at @stronginthe_saddle_, and then TikTok, it's just @stronginthe_saddle. And then my website is www.chrissyhawkins.com. And then yeah, just want to say thanks again for joining us today, Carly.
Thank you very much for having me. I've had a great time.
I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.